Filipino D family man in the Philippines. Please subscribe, click the like button, leave a comment. Coronavirus update. What did China know originally and what are they saying now?
An expert warns that the coronavirus outbreak is just beginning, as an authoritarian crackdown in China only gets worse.
The Chinese Communist government appears to be pushing a new account of events that presents President Xi Jinping as taking early action to fight coronavirus, according to today's New York Times. But in doing so, the authorities there are also admitting for the first time that Xi Jinping was aware of the racial discrimination, xenophobia, all these things that will really harm our joint efforts to combat the virus. Of course, there are all kinds of speculation and rumors. So far, at least 69,000 people have been infected with coronavirus. Over 1,600 have died. Joining me right now is Senator Tom Cotton himself. He sits on the Senate Armed Services Committee. He has been speaking out about China's response to this fatal virus.
Maria, the situation is very grave, in part because, as you say, China was lying from the beginning and they're still lying today, and also because there are so many unknowns about this virus. For example, how many people one person can infect once they have the virus, the extent to which it's contagious before one is symptomatic, or the mortality rate.
And the fact is they're criticizing us for the travel ban, but isn't it true that they've got people locked down in their homes?
Maria, they have more than 70 million people now under quarantine, and you've probably seen the videos online from social media sites, as have I, of the Chinese Communist Party's police beating people who they think might have coronavirus or trying to keep them locked inside of their apartments or quarantining them in large hospitals or what have you. They have not been transparent at all, and they need to be.
Okay, so we'd like to give you updates on a few items today. No? First of all, the DOH confirms that a sample from a 60-year-old female Chinese patient under investigation tested positive for the novel coronavirus or 2019 nCoV. She's the third confirmed 2019 nCoV acute respiratory disease case in our country. The patient arrived in Cebu City from Wuhan via Hong Kong last January 2020 and then directly went to Bohol. On January 22, the patient consulted a private hospital in Bohol after experiencing fever and coryza. No? So may lagnat lang naman tsaka sipon. A sample taken from the patient was then admitted on January 22nd. Several samples were taken from the patient on January 23 and January 24. A sample taken from the patient last January 24 was tested at the Victorian Infectious Disease Reference Laboratory in Australia and the RITM here in the Philippines. So 2 tests were done, and the results from the said test from the sample from January 24 came back negative. The results arrived from Australia on January 29, and from RITM on January 30. And upon recovery, the patient was discharged and allowed to go home to China on January 31, 9 days after the first admission. However, on February 3, the DOH was notified by RITM that the earlier sample taken January 23, which was run after the test was established here in RITM, was positive for the 2019 nCoV, making her the third confirmed case of 2019 nCoV ARD in the Philippines.
It's time for an update on the deadly coronavirus. First, some good news. This coronavirus now officially has a name, COVID-19. And naming something gives you power over it, at least according to Rumpelstiltskin. I mean, COVID-19 sounds much better than that mysterious deadly disease we can't stop. Now we can say with confidence that COVID-19 is that deadly disease we can't stop. It sounds much better, right? And don't worry, they put a lot of thought into that name to make sure it was totally woke and non-offensive.
We had to find a name that did not refer to a geographical location, an animal, an individual or group of people, and which is also pronounceable and related to the disease. Having a name matters to prevent the use of other names that can be inaccurate or stigmatizing.
I'm still offended.
Hundreds of Filipinos who live and work in Hong Kong are seeking the intervention of the International Court of Justice to pressure the Philippine government to allow them to return to the city-state. The group has also begun a petition on the website change.org calling for the travel ban to Hong Kong to be lifted. They argue the ban has affected Filipino domestic helpers, skilled workers and professionals, as well as Filipino permanent residents in Hong Kong. Let's talk to Joms Ortega, a signatory of the ICJ petition. He works as a teacher in Hong Kong. Joms, welcome to the show.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. What are you asking from the ICJ, International Court of Justice? Just the lifting of the travel ban or damages as well?
Basically, what we are asking for help is to exempt all the permanent residents and all the Hong Kong and Macau workers from the ban, because a lot of us has uprooted our lives here in the Philippines, and a lot of us actually live in Hong Kong right now. So that's our main goal, really. We were just concerned that a lot of Filipinos are really trapped here, especially the ones with families back in Hong Kong, and the ones who are the breadwinners of their families back here in the Philippines are trapped here. So
understood. Now, your group called the Philippine travel ban on Hong Kong an onerous travel ban. Why did you do that?
Oh, actually, because we find that a lot of the members of the group find that it is basically going against our right to go back to work, our right to go back to where we live, and it's just our basic human right to have our livelihoods, to have our houses, our own families, to be with our own families.
A WHO expert said the outbreak is just beginning. He means the outbreak outside China. And if the coronavirus is left unchecked, 60% of the world could be infected.
With 99% of cases in China, this remains very much an emergency for that country, but one that holds a very grave threat for the rest of the world, unless we use the window of opportunity that we have now.
Which is why COVID-19 should be treated as public enemy number one.
A virus can have more powerful consequences than any terrorist action. And that's true. And if the world doesn't want to wake up and consider this enemy virus as public enemy number one, I don't think we will learn from our lessons.
Thank you for watching the video. Please subscribe, click the like button, leave a comment. Have a great day.